Hello. The first and the basic fundamental of biology is that cell is the basic unit of life. Now, in this lecture, in the next 10 to 12, 13 minutes, I'm going to explain to you the concept of cell, the basic, why is cell called the basic unit of life, in such a way that many chapters will become clear to you. It will become effortless and easy for you to understand why is cell called the basic unit of life and why is biology based on this concept, life or cell. Now let's break the word biology. The word biology can be broken into two words, bios and logos. So anything that is logy is drawn from logos. Zoology is drawn from the word study of animals, zoology. Similarly, biology is study of bios. So it is the logos of bios. Join them together, it becomes biology. Biology is the basic study of science, of life, of the concept of life. And cell is said to be the basis of all life. So which means that once you understand the concept of the meaning of a cell, you will understand the concept of biology. You will understand why are you studying biology, and many answers will become effortless to you. Now, you do understand that NEET is never based on straightforward questioning, and NEET questions are always twisted. Once you understand the concept of cell, the first chapter itself, the meaning of cell, becomes clear to you, and a lot of twisted questions from NCERT, from NEET and NCERT can be answered. So let's tackle this. Why is cell said to be the basic unit of life? Because cell by itself is something which can exist independently. There is a concept of a single cell can lead life on its own, because whatever our complete body does fully, a single cell, the organelles in the cell can do that on their own, individually and independently. For example, say our whole living being, our whole organism as a whole, we breathe. With the cell, there is a smaller organelle. Organelle is a small word for organ. So the organelle, which is mitochondria, is the part of the cell which breathes, which is responsible for respiration. Similarly, let's consider digestion. We've got an entire digestive system. Within a cell, lysosomes and different enzymes perform the function of digestion. In us, the reproductive system performs the function of perpetuation of race. Within a cell, it is the control center at the center of the cell, which is the nucleus, which contains the chromosomes, which contain the DNA and RNA, which is responsible for perpetuation of the cell or reproduction of the cell or converting that single cell into two cells or cell division, whatever word you may choose to take. Now what happens is there are several unicellular organisms or single-celled organisms that exist independently. For example, you've all eaten pani puri outside. सबको पता है कि बाहर एक गोलगप्पा या पानी पूरी खाने से amoebic dysentery हो जाती है, or you get amoebic dysentery, or you get amoebiasis. What is amoeba? Amoeba is a unicellular organism. You have all studied this in class 6th and 7th. There are several unicellular organisms which are categorized in a special category called as bacteria or protozoa. Bacteria is another category, protozoa is another category. We'll come to that later. As and when I go along with the lectures, I want you all to tell me what you want me to tackle next. If you find this lecture to be easy, seamless and supportive for your understanding of the concept of cell, you can comment in the comment section and I will explain the next topic that you want me to explain. But a single unicellular cell like amoeba can exist independently, has a life of its own. Protozoa means, again, all protozoans are again unicellular or single-celled organisms. There are several different categories of protozoa. They exist independently. In them, a single cell performs all the function. A function of locomotion, which is done by pseudopodia, the function of food ingestion, the function of food digestion, the function of energy, the function of absorption, the function of excretion. Everything is performed by a single cell. Whereas in a multicellular organism, several cells get together and make a certain tissue. Several tissues get together and make a tissue system. Several tissue systems get together and make an organ system. And several organ systems get together and make an organ. And several organs, for example, eyes, ears, tongue, teeth, these are all individual organs. Lips, they get together and make your face. The digestive system is made up of mouth, the tongue, the esophagus, inside the stomach, the intestines, the anus, all that gets together and makes a single digestive system. There are supportive organs to the digestive system as well, just like the liver, the pancreas, etc. So in multicellular organisms, cells get together and they make organs, they make organ systems, and the organism exists as a whole. In a unicellular organism, that's all those functions are performed by the single cell. Now, there are certain characteristic features that cells possess. All this got clear after the microscope was discovered. The concept of cell as the basic unit of life was put forward and was later confirmed as the cell theory by Schleiden and Schwann. And the cell theory said omnis cellulae cellula. All this happened in early 1800s, 1830, 1839, 1834 was when the Schleiden and Schwann put forward the cell theory. And the cell theory is a simple doctrine, or it is a simple principle which tells you about the concept of cell. It just says that cells can exist as a whole, independent organism. Cells always arise from pre-existing cells. So a cell cannot be created. A cell cannot come out of blue. A cell comes out of pre-existing cells. So all cells come out of pre-existing cells, and the bodies of all living beings or all living organisms that you see around you, all living beings or all living organisms you see around you are made up of cells. So which is why the cell is said to be the basic unit of life. For something to be classified as living, it needs to have a cell as its basic structure. A non-living thing does not have a cell, active cell, as its basic structure. Even a dead person or a dead animal or a dead plant is not living because the cells inside it have stopped to perform its basic living activities. That is the concept of living and non-living. So every living being is made up of composite units, and these composite units are called as cells. Every cell, a living cell, can perform all the activities of that an organism can perform it as a whole. Cells have certain characteristic features. They've got certain organelles inside them to perform functions, and cells can coexist and live with other cells in the form of tissues, organs, organ systems, etc. Cells have a characteristic feature which is called as totipotency. And the concept of totipotency means that a cell by itself technically doesn't really happen in theory in animals, but in plants it does. A cell theoretically can give rise to the whole organism. This concept is called as totipotent. So for example, if you cut off my finger cannot grow into a whole organism. Yes, but if you take a plant and you take a cutting of the plant and you plant it somewhere, it grows into a new plant. It develops roots and it starts developing stems. This concept of cell, that a single cell can give rise to an entire organism, is referred to as totipotency. Now go through this video again. Listen to every point, every sentence that I've said a couple of times. Try to absorb it, try to assimilate it. Because the lectures that from now on I will be taking will be targeted at NEET. And NEET questions are never straightforward. Once you listen to all these videos one by one, you will be able to tackle the difficult concepts of NEET. If you like my video, please share it with your friends. Please like, subscribe the video, and please comment in the comment section which topic you would like to take next. But I will move on to more concepts of cell structure of a cell, um, from NEET point of view, some basic concepts which I feel that students should engage with, and complex topics that I want to break down into simpler topics so that understanding bio becomes effortless and easy for you. Thank you.